Welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Romano. This is my 100th video and I wanted to make this video and I wanted to give everyone a free gift. It's always good to give to the public and to share knowledge such as what PhDs do, and we share our PhD research, etc. But today I'm going to give you a secret. And you could use this secret throughout your life, and you could share it with your friends, families, and co-workers, whoever you know. Before we continue the video, please remember to subscribe to my channel. It does not hurt. You're going to get my future videos anyway, but if you subscribe, it really helps me out. Secondly, you have to do thumbs up on every single video that you watch. It's right there. It doesn't hurt, but it really helps me out because I'm sitting in front of this camera for free as of now, and I'm providing free information to the public. I'm a doctor of finance. I know a lot about a lot, but I don't know everything, and I'm trying to create my videos as anyone could understand this. I'm not using high-end definition. For example, when I studied psychology, every single word I read was a new definition. So if you're watching this channel and you're learning about finance, or you have an interest in it, or you have an interest in watching my videos, and you like the fact that I'm teaching you how to protect yourself financially, well, that's wonderful. And that's why I have to use basic English to provide you the concept of what I do. Thank you so much. As you know by the title, this is my 100th video because I started YouTube in the summer of 2021. And it took me 5 years because I had so many mental blocks that it finally took me 5 years to realize I have to do YouTube. And it was all because of two people that I met. And it's amazing how certain people change your life. Let's say that you have $1 billion. Let's just say that. You could have $1 million, you could have $1 trillion, whatever it is you have, but you could use this same principle and the same methodology throughout your life. Let's just say you have $1 billion, okay? You make $1 billion a year. I want to use the word billion because, you know, today millionaires are really nothing. Now it's the billionaires, and soon it'll be the trillionaires. I hope I'm a trillionaire soon. You have to think very carefully how you accept that money, because you may not have that income throughout your life. So if you're making $1 million a year or $100,000 a year, you may not make $100,000 every single year. You may make more or less. So you have to be very careful with the money that you make. And because of income tax being so high, that if you use my methodology, I call it the Romans-Hornian theory. I named my own theory. So if you use this methodology, you will be able to keep most of your income throughout your life and through multiple generations. Because you were successful in your career, you need to be responsible for future generations, because your future generations are not going to be as lucky as you were, who was very successful. You have a few different types of people. You have people that inherit money and they manage their mother or father's company, such as Cornelius Vanderbilt's son, Billy Vanderbilt. Then you have people that are entrepreneurs that come from, let's say, the poorest place in London. I can't remember his name right now, but when you see him, you would think he's a poor person, but yet he's a multi-billionaire. But there are many people in America that, like Oprah Winfrey. So they had some sort of luck and a quality about them. And of course you have the entrepreneurs who create businesses, sell their concept, like Mark Cuban sold his software company for billions. I was recently watching his special, and I really liked what he said, and that's why I'm making this video, because he said it's easy to make $1 billion if you have a concept or an idea. You could sell anything if you're a seller. Unfortunately, I'm not a seller. I've worked in commercial real estate. I've sold properties, $1 million properties, but yet I still can't manage to raise capital for my funds of funds. I should be a billionaire by now. Sam Bankman-Fried, he became a billionaire overnight, just within 2 years. And it was all because people at that time, they were pouring their money into cryptocurrency hedge funds. And so that's how he became so rich so fast. But because he got rich so fast and he didn't have the knowledge to keep the wealth, not even to trade the wealth, he could have hired professionals to do it, but he didn't even know to do that. So again, Mark Cuban is right about you may make the money, but you may not be able to keep it. And so listen to Mark Cuban, what he said. He said it's easy to make $1 billion, but it's really hard to keep it. And so he was going to dedicate the rest of his life to actually keeping the billions. So I know how to keep the billions, and this is why I'm making the video, because I want to educate the public on how to do this. For starters, you need to understand a bit of taxation and what you are allowed to do with your money, okay? Secondly, when you are making money, 100,000, 200,000 a year, or $1 billion, or 10 billion, or 100 billion, you need to protect your income. And so this is why you must create your own private foundation. Not in America. Remember, you don't want a private foundation here in America. American citizen can donate their capital any country in the world that has a private foundation. But the best place for a private foundation is actually Liechtenstein, because of their constitution and the way that country operates for privacy, as well as strict policies on what other countries could do in their country. The next place is actually the Caribbean. There's many places such as Belize, the Cook Islands, the Cayman Islands, etc. And it's cheaper to do it there. Remember, they don't always have a government that may be stable. And so that's why I would say do it in Liechtenstein. So your private foundation, yes, it's going to cost you between 30 and 40,000 to set it up, because of the government fee that they charge, as well as the company who does it, etc. Eventually, I will put links in this profile with a few companies, or maybe I should not. Then you need approximately $50,000 to fund the actual private foundation to start. And that's the minimum that you could start it in Liechtenstein. So you need $90,000 from start to finish. But remember, if you made $1 million and you're going to pay tax of 40%, you have $400,000 that you're basically going to give the federal government. Now, you could also reduce your taxes by retirement programs and stuff like that, vehicles. When you get married and you're in a state that you're living with someone and you're not married, they're automatically married to you in a certain amount of time. So this is why saving half of your income, like some of the CEOs I knew, or the directors, it was ridiculous, because all their wife had to do was sue them, get half of their pension, half of their house, and take it. And they have to pay alimony. Well, so this is why you take 30% of your income tax-free and you dump it into your private foundation. Your private foundation has many, many things that it could fund. You need to open up the book and learn everything that you could do with a foreign private foundation as a U.S. citizen. The private foundation in Liechtenstein could actually pay for your kids' colleges, your kids' weddings, your kids' expenses, your cousins, your relatives, your parents' expenses, everything. It's not that you have to donate the money from the private foundation to a charitable organization. You can give money away to charity, but there's another way I'm going to show you. So with your $1 billion a year that you make, you take 300 million and you dump it in your private foundation. The private foundation, you're still managing it. You could still invest in real estate. You could still invest in a funds of funds, such as my own. No, I'm just kidding. Such as a funds of funds. So the point is that you're preserving that 300 million a year in a private foundation in Liechtenstein, a foreign private foundation. And if you go bankrupt, they can't go after your private foundation. And you make sure you don't do it in the US. You have $700 million a year that you have to pay tax on. So let's just say it's a 50% tax, which I don't think it is. 50%, that's a lot of money. That's $350 million that you're going to be paying in tax. The next vehicle that you need to establish is a donor-advised fund. And if you want to do it here in America, you can. Now, a donor-advised fund, you still manage the capital, but technically you gave it to charity. Now, a donor-advised fund does have certain type of restrictions, etc., and so forth. But the donor-advised fund could make money. So it could own real estate. It could lend the private foundation money to buy real estate. It could act as a lender, and so forth. It could do a lot. However, yes, you have to give a certain amount of money away per year that's in the donor-advised fund. I'm not going to discuss how much it is, 2%, 3%, whatever it is, it changes. However, you could also elect for a future lump sum donation. You have to apply for that. It's called a special status. For example, if you're like me, I can't stand giving to charity. I hate it because it never goes to the actual people that are in need. And in my case, I feel the most people that are in need are people that don't have a place of stay. Those people that are living on the streets, it's not because they're crazy. It's not because they're shooting up heroin. Not all of them do that. It's possibly because they have a PTSD issue. They could have been in the military. They could have been whatever happened to them, and they've been triggered. And for certain jobs in today, it's become very hard to work for a company because of HR and all their policies being too efficient. They get rid of the employees too fast. Getting upset at an employee and firing them just because maybe they started saying nasty things, that's not a reason to fire someone. They're having a bad day. They have PTSD. They have emotional issues or whatever it is. Or maybe they started a business and they went bankrupt. Or maybe they started a business and something happened with the economy. Like a lot of people now what's going to happen or have been because of COVID. It's just because they gave up on life. And possibly they have a lot of mental blocks. And so I believe that's where I would actually, the part of the public that I would help is the homeless. Not by giving them money, by actually giving them a shelter to live in. And that's the most important thing, is an actual shelter for them to put their stuff in it, even if it's crusty underwear, to allow them to actually relax. Because that's what they need in that time period of their life. And so I wouldn't give to a homeless shelter. I would build a homeless shelter with their own individual rooms. Make sure it's all cinder block and there's no wood whatsoever because you never know if it goes up on flames. just because some of them are not mentally there and so forth. And so that's what I would do. Also, I would like to create a Maria Montessori school for children across America. I've always believed in the Montessori method because I did go there, and the short time that I did go there, I learned so much. They brought me up to speed within 6 months, whereas if it was in public school, I would never have been updated so fast. Because kids are like a sponge, and it's best to start your kids out in the family business when they're very young, and giving them responsibility when they're very young, not when they're 18 or 21. If you do that, of course they're going to do drugs, and every drug in the book, and have nervous breakdowns. So you have to allow them to grow up from childhood. Once you create the donor advised fund, you can elect a special status, and you could dump that into either, let's say, Maria Montessori, your own school, or your own homeless shelter in the city that you live in, or if you're a billionaire, all over the US. Because if become a billionaire, this is how I would do it. I would set up a Montessori in every single city. And so if I were a billionaire, for example, if I start my funds of funds this year, and I do have the luck that Sam Bankman-Fried had to do his hedge fund, well, he raised $32 billion within 2 years. That's $32 billion. So if Sam Bankman could have it that fast, then with $32 billion in assets under management, and I would have a funds of funds with 8 hedge funds, do you realize how much money I would make myself? With every $1 billion that I would have in assets under management, with a 30% trading average, meaning all the hedge funds in my portfolio, they make 30% per year. It's actually lower now, but I'm going to use the 30% to make it easy. Then that's $300 million a year. I would make $30 million per year if it does a 30% return and there's $1 billion worth of assets under management. However, Sam Bankman-Fried had $32 billion. If you take that $30 million and you times it by 32, it's almost $1 billion a year. Can you imagine on years that the stock market is moving and I get a 50% average return? That's almost $2 billion. And guess what I'm going to do with that $2 billion? 30% goes into my private foundation, and the other 70%, you dump it into your donor advised fund. I actually don't need the capital to live off of. It's better in your private foundation, because your private foundation could still own real estate. It could still own a mega yacht, because a mega yacht is also a charter business, and so forth. And so there's all ways to live and to make money and to grow. Secondly, the owner of Tesla made he said a very good comment, and I like his thinking. His quote was, "I am better off at allocating assets than giving it to the government." You don't have to do all of it. Of course you need a yearly income, but that's a salary. So if you own a company, you take a salary. And the ownership of the company, for those people who do have, let's say, a big company and they have company stock, they could literally donate 30% of their company stock to their private foundation every single year. And the donor advised fund, there's a tricky thing with this. So when you're donating it to a donor advised fund, not that you have an issue with short-term capital gains, okay? Now, short-term capital gains, I can't remember exactly, but I think that the amount that you donate, you could also increase the total amount that you're donating, including the capital gains that you would have paid, or something to that effect. You have to look it up. I'm not here as an accountant. I'm here to teach you the actual concept on how a billionaire such as Mark Cuban, the owner of Tesla, the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, how they should have done it. Cornelius Vanderbilt, $100 million in 1860s or whatever it was, should have given all that money to his private foundation. And if he would have done it then, because there was no income tax back then his son Billy Vanderbilt would have increased that $100 million to $200 million, and he did by the time he died. But this is where he made the mistake. He gave 90% of it to his oldest son, and his son's descendants squandered it away. I'm talking about, he had like, Cornelius's grandson had many kids, and he divided it into each of his children. Each of his children couldn't manage money. So the money disappeared overnight, whether it was they built mansions on Fifth Avenue, they spent every time, they were giving diamonds to people in their bowl, they were the age of innocence. That was a story about the Vanderbilts and the Astors and etc. So they just spent it because not every generation, not every person knows how to increase it. And believe it or not, Cornelius's son, Billy Vanderbilt, did not know how to double it. He actually put a lot in bonds. It's only because the railroad kept increasing and it was at its peak by the time. So again, that's, if he would have done that, the Vanderbilts would have been the wealthiest people alive. That's my gift to you this winter. Thank you so much for everything for this whole year of watching my channel. I hope to God and I pray to God that my channel will have 1 million subscribers. I really pray really hard every day by the end of this year. I don't know if it's possible, but you never know what happens. Thank you so much. God bless you. And God bless everyone that subscribes to my channel. And please do thumbs up. This helps. Subscribe to my channel. I give you the free information. You're gonna get my videos anyway, but just press the button subscribe and do thumbs up, please. It's right there. Thank you so much, and God bless you.